free with the rhythm. Don't fight, it's coming from the mind. It's so this moment, don't care what can do. You're feeling dream, can't you see it closer? Just a little cause you feel the feeling taking over. It's fire, it's freedom, it's flying open. It's a picture in the book, and you're blind to motion. There's something bringing at the brink of every wall. It's holding on to your arms. Tell me, do you want to go? We're flying on our lives. We're running away from night to night. Impossible come true. We're taking over you.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to be with you here today. As you will know, today marks the end of Craig Considine's amazing decade as headmaster of the school, and we thank him enormously for his amazing contribution to our success. Being both Australian and a huge sports fan, Craig has worked hard to imbue our pupils with the famed skills and sporting techniques of his cricketing countrymen. Our library here at Millfield features many sporting biographies to inspire our pupils. But I have to tell you, due to the recent events in South Africa, we've had to move the biography of Aussie bowler Steve Smith to the true crime section. And of course, Craig's teaching methods in sport do differ from those back home. At Millfield, we do our fielding practice on the pitch. In the suburbs of Sydney, I think a lot of it's done in the woodworking shop, where all you can hear is the rasp of sandpaper on cork. But what I must say, in all seriousness, is that Craig's pursuit for sporting excellence has not just benefited Millfield, it's benefited this nation in his 2 Olympics as headmaster, with an amazing 8 Millfieldians taking part in the Rio Olympics. And this is, of course, a school that's been represented at every Olympic Games since 1956, and long may that continue, coming up in Tokyo in 2 years. As many of you know, Craig has been appointed Chief Executive of the Tanglin Trust School in Singapore, and it's still hoped that this will be the home This will be the scene for the first historic meeting between President Trump and Kim Jong-un of North Korea. I remain very excited at the prospect of seeing this rather bizarre leader, this strange haircut, the chubby face, the thin-skinned man with this absolute determination and appetite for complete rule over his people. I'm also looking forward to seeing the North Korean president. None of the school's success over the last 10 years would have been possible without Craig's amazing, stellar decade. And in recognition of that, on behalf of the governors and the staff and the school, we've got a wonderful Millfield decanter, which we very much presented to Craig to thank him enormously for this. Thank you so much, Craig. Ladies and gentlemen, it's also a great pleasure to stand in front of you as chairman of the Millfield Governors. I just want to thank all my governors, particularly Richard Exley, the deputy chairman, of whom I just couldn't do this job without him. We're like a double act. I also want to thank Annabelle Sexton, who's been amazing and has succeeded in getting the new head of Millfield Sport, which is a brilliant appointment. And I also want to thank Rachel Summerhays, because she's, as clerk to the governors, she's really amazing and so organised and disciplined. We couldn't do our job without her. I spent the whole of the 70s at Millfield, first at the prep school and then at the senior school. I arrived severely dyslexic. The school nurtured me and gave me the confidence and ability to apply and to get into Oxford. My kids are very quick to point out that in my day it was relatively easy. About 8% of leavers went to university compared to 50% today. So I try to get a bit of kudos with them by saying, hey, I was elected president of the Oxford Union, and they just say, well, so what? So was Boris, and look how he's turned out. You know, you can't imagine what it was like in the 70s. We had a corrupt US president who lied and was threatened with impeachment and eventually became an embarrassment to the US public. In the UK, the Labour Party went to the left. The Conservatives elected a single-minded woman who was determined to try to create some order out of a disunited party. We even had a divisive referendum on the European Union. Imagine that. Well, I'm not sure how much things have completely changed. But how do you change the world around you? I believe your parents, in sending you to Millfield, have provided you with an amazing opportunity. And that opportunity comes with a responsibility for others and for society. It's interesting to note that one of the big charity bodies in the UK, the Charities Aid Foundation, conducts an annual survey called the World Giving Index. And the measures they use to define charitable behaviour is not just giving money, but volunteering time and the willingness to help a stranger. So there are many ways to make a difference, and you can start today. So in conclusion, I just want to offer you a few thoughts for the future. As John Lennon once said, life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. But he may be right, but I believe firmly that you should make a plan. Make a plan for the next 2 to 3 years. Now, the reason why a lot of people don't make a plan is because they don't want to fail. But in reality, they do fail. They just don't know it. So don't fail because of willful blindness. Take the initiative, make a plan, and try and stick to it. Secondly, see people. See the people who clean up after you. See the people who wait on you when you go out. They're not invisible. Don't look through them. And remember to thank them profusely for what they do. Thirdly, you are best at what you are most passionate about. Try and find an interest and then a job that speaks to that passion. Fourthly, don't procrastinate. Make decisions quickly. Don't sit on emails. Don't always wait until tomorrow, because by then a whole new set of challenges have emerged. Time will not rescue you. Do it now. And third and finally, there is only one thread, one leitmotif that runs through successful people. It's not intellect, it's not talent, it's not good looks, it's not being born into privilege, it's hard work. And never feel despondent if you happen to think that the person next to you is more academic than you, or maybe they're more talented than you in certain areas. Because if you're determined to succeed, and if you work harder, you will succeed. And finally, remember that education is a lifelong pursuit. Soak up as much information as you can to develop the skills that you'll need. Leavers, your life journey has only just begun, but the relationship between you and the school has not come to an end. Please stay in touch. You have so many possibilities ahead of you. Go out there and seize them, and make yourselves proud and make your school proud. I know you will. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. In Evelyn Waugh's Decline and Fall, a character remarks that schoolmasters must temper discretion with deceit. But the most memorable reports betray a little humour too. French is a foreign language to Fowler. At least his education didn't go to his head. And from a woodwork teacher, James has taken all term to produce a good stall. Reports are based on a kind of benchmark, the notion that we all know what an educated person looks like. But I wonder if this is true. What are the hallmarks of a Millfield education? Or put more generally, what should an educated 18-year-old look like? I asked the question as a former university chaplain. I was responsible for the welfare of students arriving straight from school, but who, in many cases, showed no signs of ever having been to one. Not that I can talk. As a sixth former, I was once stopped and searched on my way home. Mistaken for a burglar who'd stolen off with a bag full of silver, the police made me open my tatty sports holdall. To this day, I'm still slightly embarrassed by what they found. A half-eaten Marmite sandwich, 3 tennis balls, and a social history of the Third Reich. Obviously, I had the appearance of a small-time crook, but what would you say an educated 18-year-old looks like? Does he leave school with a string of A-grade qualifications, captain the first 11 and head the house, fulfill her potential as artist, musician and thespian, or simply say no when offered a drink too many? Arguably, none of those scenarios, even in combination, quite makes the case. They're all stereotypes, and for 80-plus years, this school has resisted the temptation to conform pupils into a single mould. Our founder had a different idea. He believed everyone has something remarkable inside them, a divine spark, if you like. He believed Millfield could help a student discern that spark and fan it into glorious flame. Exams and other achievements mattered, but only as a means to an end. What consumed him was the spirit that had been kindled in the mind of the boy or girl who walked out of the school gates for the final time. Maybe he knew the old joke about the child who was born with a silver spoon in his mouth and who hasn't stirred since. Well, for Jack Meyer at least, an educated 18-year-old was one in whom the divine spark had been stirred, not once, but forever. 2 decades ago, an editorial in the Times contained this hard-hitting paragraph: 1,000 years of civilization, 100 years of compulsory education for every boy and girl, 50 years of greatly expanded higher education. And where's it got us? To a youth culture that has no ideals, no intellectual grit, no curiosity, little sense, and worst of all, absolutely no command of language. Life offers nothing more than chilling out and getting trashed. Well, I only wish the writer could visit 21st century Millfield, especially on Mencap Day, when our young people still do Jack Mayer proud, learning lessons of tenacity, gratitude, and sheer good humour from our guests, and discerning in themselves rare reserves of compassion, tact, and generosity. If education doesn't embrace lessons of this sort, bewilderment and empathy, fascination and wonder, awareness, then it's less than Mayer understood by the word. Awareness especially. No educated 18-year-old should lack this. Without awareness, the kindled spirit will give off more heat than light. Without awareness, the kindled spirit might just be an individual turned in on himself and school just a trip to the pump, a place where you fill up, get what you want, and move on. To be aware is to understand the impact one's behaviour has on others, for good or for ill. Because let's be honest, some of us are like a careless, big-footed visitor to the garden. We have little awareness of the size of our feet, nor the fragility of the landscape. We're unaware of the footprints we leave on others. And not only footprints. Recently, I kept my eye on all comings and goings through one particular double door. How often would it be held open for the next person coming through? Let's just say, not always. Personally, I think Alan Sugar's The Apprentice has a lot to answer for. It's a programme that rewards contestants for being totally unaware of themselves and each other. It rewards them for their inability to listen, for being blind to any virtues but their own, for a narrow, ruthless drive to win at all costs. In contrast, to be aware is to be in touch with one's desires, but not to be mastered by them. It's to question the impact we have on others. Who pays the price for cheap clothes? How does my sexual behaviour affect others? What are the consequences of marital breakdown? Above all, to be aware is to comprehend the web of life, that in God's world, each of us is a gift, a blessing to each other, someone to be nurtured and supported, not taken for granted. One last report. George W. Bush's, another person you'd never guess had been to school. What did they say about him? Scored average for most things, including intelligence. But at least it gave him this good line at a Yale graduation. To those of you who receive honours, awards and distinctions, I say, well done. And to the C students, I say, you too can be President of the United States. Leavers, thank you for letting us be a brief part of your lives. Thank you for what you've shown us. Like presidents of the United States, you will make your mark in an extraordinary range of pursuits. But as you flourish, tread softly. A final blessing. May the road rise to meet you. May the sun shine warm upon your face. May you know I'm always available for weddings, baptisms, and bar mitzvahs. Until we meet again, may God hold you in the hollow of his hand. Amen.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and at the 6th, we now start the presentation of prizes. It's my pleasure to announce the 2018 prize winners for academic achievement and academic effort. I'll only be reading out the names of those pupils who are here today, and awardees will come forward to be congratulated by the Headmaster. I'd be grateful if you would save your applause until each small group of pupils has been read out. So to start, the prize winners for academic achievement and effort are as follows: Isaac Sturgis for accounting, Emily Dibble for art and academic effort, Fenella Rice for biology, Charlotta Timms for BTEC Art and Design, and Octavia Elliott for BTEC Business. Tia Medic for BTEC Music, Bobby Davis for BTEC Sport and Academic Effort, Lauren Shepherd for Chemistry, Katie Tilk for Chinese and Academic Effort, and Alexander Hazelton for Computer Science and Academic Effort. Millie Gibbons for drama and academic effort, Lucas Steinfeld for economics, Hattie Smith for economics, psychology and academic effort, Zoe Jumbahoy for English and academic effort, and Lucy Farrant for food and nutrition. Eleanor Baggio for French, German and academic effort, Oscar Coggins for further maths, physics and academic effort, Zoe Varney for further maths, physics and academic effort, Jacob Berger for geography and academic effort, and Lucy Davis for Leith's Food and Wine, physical education and academic effort. Stan Cunningham for mathematics and academic effort, Ali Fielder for media studies, Ornella Hutchison for music, Tio Teniente for religious studies, and Eleanor Lloyd for Spanish. The prize winners for academic effort are as follows: B. Bennett, Thomas Bevan, Bethan Close, Ellie Crispin, and Lauren Edwards. Melissa Gary, Geordie Hawksworth, Nigella Landrop, Beth Lewis, and Kareem Marshood. And to conclude the academic prizes, the final prizes for academic effort go to Kirsten Meehan, Cicely Newton, Ben Penton, Finn Quayle, and Sam Taylor.
Good afternoon, Chair of Governors, Headmaster, ladies and gentlemen, and of course, the upper sixth. We'd like to extend a warm welcome to Millfield Summer Celebration 2018. We were the heads of school this academic year, and in the autumn term we have
Fenella Rice.
David Ketz.
And in the spring term,
Uriel Palabi.
Kirsten Meehan. And in the third term,
Rosie Sorry-Cookson.
And Charlie Hannon.
we are going to give you 3 life lessons that we feel we have learned in our time at Millfield. This is off the back of Mrs. Reese's 5 life lessons learned that she delivered to us in our final assembly.
our first life lesson is all about opportunities, of which we have plenty here at Millfield. We believe that the more you put in, the more you get out. And David and myself would just like to highlight a couple of the opportunities that our year have really made the most of.
During the sixth form, there's been about 216 campus nights, and some, more than others, have made full use of this opportunity to partake in certain extracurricular activities.
We have even had some pupils who have come back for a year to really make the most of what Millfield has on offer. During our year, we've had many opportunities to make the most of what Millfield has on offer, and that, whether that be on the Mayor Theatre stage, in lessons, or on the sporting pitch.
In Co-Curricular alone, we've had 8 full drama productions.
Ket, don't forget about the drama production that was produced by one of our own.
Well, of course. And also, along with this, we've had 4 grade 8 musicians, one of which is completing their diploma after half-term. We've also been lucky enough to pioneer the Eagles programme, which is a great opportunity to develop our leadership skills through mentoring our younger years and volunteering in the local community.
So, what we're really trying to say here is that thanks to the opportunity that Millfield has given us, we have been able to step out of our comfort zone and help build our confidence to help us become the emerging adults that we are today.
The second lesson learned of our time at Millfield is resilience. The definition of resilience is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. One of the school's main purposes is to increase this capacity via various methods, such as encouragement to the growth mindset, guidance on how to improve previous performances, or the good old suck it up and get on with it. So whatever the circumstances, we have learnt to keep pushing, because short-term pain eventually yields long-term gains.
Some of our year group, however, have used this resilience in a way the school probably wished they didn't. For example, receiving a dress defaulter to quickly overcome the setback and receive another dress defaulter the next day.
And another one.
And then another one.
However, the majority of our year have now honed in on how to use this resilience in the right way, whether it be turning up on the pitch week in, week out, despite some heavy losses.
Whoa, Kirsten, it wasn't that many losses.
Okay. Or whether it's going to lunchtime workshops in order to try and boost our A-level grades. Or even if it is just enduring Hall of Fame in our year group assemblies.
And finally, over the last 5 years, one overriding lesson learned has been the importance of teamwork. The first 11 girls hockey had a stunning season.
And don't forget, the 13 football.
And of course the infamous 13 football. Both had stunning seasons, with the girls remaining undefeated and ending the season as independent schools champions. But even this couldn't match the performance of the school's most notorious team, Boise, of which Charlie and David were both members of.
Agreed, but as much as teamwork has been a large proportion of the year group success, it is vital to understand the importance of the individual's achievements. Although some of us may have had a shaky start coming out of year 11, however, we did manage to overcome that and get 68 unconditional offers, 14 of which to US unis. Now finally, we all agreed that it is important to mention there is one exception to the teamwork lesson, and that is, no matter how many Orchard boys it takes to book a spray tan, it will always look
dreadful.
Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you in the PIMS tent and the marquee, and hopefully kudos.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege this afternoon to read out the Co-Curriculum and Sport Awards. As previously, I will read them in small blocks to save you bruising your hands any further. So, here we go. Octavia Hurt Madden for art. Emily Dibbles, service to art. Zoe Jumbahoy for dance. Lena Gildem Clark, service to dance. Asher Colmar for drama and Eagles Bronze Award. Will Watson, service to drama. Isaac Hughes, music. And Harry Kemp, service to music and Eagles Bronze Award. Obviously, Mrs. Bowring's a fan, Harry. Just to read a few of the Eagles Awards now, just together, just a few in addition to Asher's and Harry's. So, Bronze Award for Eagles, Bree Kennedy, Scarlett Manzoni and Rosie Smith. And now moving over to the Sports Awards. Bobby Davies, Athletics. Cliff Schwabauer, Service to Athletics. Charlotta Timms, Service to Badminton. Thomas Goldie, Service to Chess. David Kett, Cricket. Ned Dunning, Service to Cricket. Lucy Davies, Service to Cross Country. Lauren Dolan, Cycling. Lauren Bell, Service to Cycling. Emma Manton, Service to Equestrian. Yasmin Fosu, fencing. Stephen Watley, service to fencing. Teo Teniente, service to football. Ben Hooper, hockey. Emma Manton, service to hockey. Harry Kemp, service to karate. Tia Medic, netball. Hattie Smith, service to netball. Nick Laws, pentathlon. And Abby Liebus, service to pentathlon. And finally, Henry Pavoas for rugby, Ollie Hobman, service to rugby, Scarlett Manzoni, sailing, Charlie Mullins, service to sailing, Isabel Jones, swimming, Max McCusker, service to swimming, Pierce Widdicombe, tennis, Odette Beagrie, service to tennis, Oscar Coggins, triathlon, and lastly, Jonathan Oakey, service to triathlon.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to announce the school honours and international sports honours. As previously, please reserve your applause for the gaps between groups. So, for the heads of school, David Kett, Fenella Rice, Uriel Palobi, Kirsten Meehan, Charlie Hannon, and Rosie Sori-Cookson. Senior prefects, Bethan Close, Lucy Davis, Toby Dennis, Max Jenkins, Nigella Landrock. Following on, Nick Laws, Scarlett Manzoni, who also receives the award for service to charity, Cliff Schwaber, Lauren Shepherd, and Rosie Smith. In a class of one, Laura Woodward, who receives her Duke of Edinburgh's Gold Award. And so to the International Sports Honours, Ariana Balestrieri for fencing, GB under 20. Kieran Bird, swimming, GB under 18. Oscar Coggins, triathlon, Hong Kong under 18 and under 23. Lauren Dolan, cycling, GB under 18 and under 23. And Yasmin Fosu, fencing, Ghana under 20. Isabel Jones, swimming, GB under 18. Nick Laws, modern pentathlon, GB under 18. Abby Liebes, modern pentathlon, GB under 18. Scarlett Manzoni, sailing, Hong Kong senior. And Oren McNulty, rugby, Ireland under 18. The final group, Emily Price, golf, England under 18. Finn Quayle, hockey, USA under 21. Cliff Schwaber, athletics, Wales under 18. Zoe Varney, chess, England under 18. And Stephen Watley, chess, England under 18.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the special awards, and we've asked the chairman to present these. The Ellen and Angela Burns Service to Rugby Award goes to Henry Lum. Russell's novel, A Man Who Knows How to Make an Entrance. Well done. The Ashley Robinson Prize for Physics, and he's leaving. No. The Ashley Robinson Prize for Physics and Mathematics goes to Aidan Nichols. The Bunce Prize goes to Cliff Schwauber. And our final award, the Campbell Cup for Endeavour, goes to Lauren Edwards. Much better over here. Chair of the Board of Governors, Mr Rudd, Governors, Mrs Shirley Shaler, Headmistress of the Prep School, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to give my 10th annual report to the school community to reflect upon and celebrate our 2017-18 school year. The occasion is somewhat bittersweet, as you can imagine, as Penny and I move on to pastures a little less green. I was going to say definitely much hotter, but I think somebody was setting us up just for a little bit of practice in the heat in here, but delightfully different, and of course that's very much the spice of life. I've consistently been mesmerised by the achievements of the pupils at Millfield. Time and again, new names and faces set off on their journey into adulthood, many ready for the challenges that await. Still others cosseted within the comfort blanket of school. Some uncertain and needing to reposition themselves for the future with some baby steps along the way. There have been some amazing achievements by this cohort. It has been pleasing to note future destinations which have included offers from outstanding universities in the UK and overseas. This year's uppers have received Oxbridge offers to read archaeology and history of art, 5 medics, which is a wonderful achievement. Other notable university offers have come from University College London, London School of Economics, Durham, Imperial College, and a vast range of others. It is always interesting to note, however, the specialist creative courses that have been offered, such as fashion, filmmaking, dance, acting, music, and illustration. There are academic scholarships to the American University in Washington and Duke University in the United States. There are also sports scholarships to Dartmouth College and Ivy League, Syracuse, Tarleton, University of Kentucky and Drexel in a vast range of different sports. So far, 23% of the upper sixth applying through UCAS have received unconditional offers, over twice the number of previous years. This reflects the outstanding candidates we have in the upper sixth, but also a changing tertiary landscape as universities look to establish their roles. This year group is memorable in many other ways. Firstly, there are 11 old-timers, pupils that have moved all the way through Millfield from grade 2 to year 13. We also, and I have a bit of a view on this because I have twins myself, we have 8 sets of twins in the year group, which is an interesting statistic. The year group is replete with amazing all-rounders who engage strongly in academics, sport, and one of the other key co-curricular areas of the school. Laura Woodward's achievement, which was roundly applauded in completing her Gold Duke of Edinburgh Award and having it presented at Buckingham Palace a couple of weeks ago, is a monumental achievement as the demands of the program are not generally completed while at school. Many pupils have achieved international sporting honours, as you've just heard, but I wanted to mention a couple of other sporting highs. I thought the most amazing one for the year was seeing Henry Crow's tutorial group support him at Cheltenham in riding home a winner a couple of weeks ago. Lauren Dolan's amazing achievements on the bicycle. Oscar Coggan's wonderful endurance feats in the triathlons all around the world. The netballers, the girls' hockey team, of course, we've heard about. The thirds footballers, the senior footballers, the polo team, cricket, tennis, all of whom have been placed in national competitions. Worthy of note also was Charles Clist's 254-run innings against Canford a couple of weeks ago. Thank you to the heads of school for their thoughtful words of summary for you as a group. They, along with the senior prefects and the whole of the year group, have been purposeful and enthusiastic supporters of all things Millfield. In my earlier speech to the Year 9s, 10s, 11s and lower 6th, I gave thanks to the governing body, long-serving staff who are moving on at the end of the year, and those involved in making today such a wonderful occasion. And I wrote that in the interest of not repeating myself, I'll just say thank you, but I don't want to do that because I really do want to acknowledge those people who have served the school so wonderfully well over an extended period of time. And they are Dr. David Burton, who's completed 36 years at the school, Mr. David Carr, 29, Mr. Neil Chamberlain, 31 and a half, and Mrs. Caroline Byrne, 29. So would you join with me in thanking all of those staff, please, for their long service. 10 years ago, in August of 2008, I came to England with my family, having spent a brief period of time here in the late 70s when pursuing a sporting career on the athletics track. My initial visit was memorable, as a young person's first foray overseas generally is. I think we had the chairman give a little bit of what took place in the 70s, and he's far more knowledgeable about these things than me. However, I seem to recall that David Bowie was very much to the fore. There was rampant inflation. Australian dollar, probably like now, is worth nothing. Britain's first female Prime Minister, as we heard, was installed. And I seem to recall that Blue Nun, Black Tower and Matooth were the choice of tipple. And as I look out there, I can see a couple of parents screwing up their faces, and that probably summed up what were some pretty hideous moments around that. 2008 was, of course, different to the late 70s. As I drove down from Heathrow, I couldn't help thinking how beautiful the countryside was and how it was nothing like Coronation Street in EastEnders. I'd seen some of the classical representations of British landscapes by Turner and Constable, Gainsborough, but nothing prepares you, not even some time in New Zealand that everyone says is so beautiful, for the ridiculously green British countryside. And we've got a bit more of it happening today, haven't we? I was, of course, looking forward to the sport in the country. England, of course, has a wonderful sporting rivalry with other British neighbours, as well as its Commonwealth franchises. Since being in England, Australia's sporting stocks have become bankrupt. Maybe I should have said morally bankrupt, Mr. Chairman, following your speech earlier. And I have endured some challenging ribbing from time to time, and it just goes on, doesn't it? I think, therefore, I empathise with the Welsh, and I have spoken with Mr. Sexton about this a number of times. I would like to remind Mr. Jones, however, that that little wager that we had 10 years ago, and that little urn, I think is back in my pocket at the moment, and maybe we'll send it backwards and forwards over the years to come. I've been asked 100 times, at least, how did I ever become headmaster of Millfield? Somebody from the back blocks, everyone thinks I'm a New Zealander because I came from New Zealand and it's a lovely place, but I am Australian, as the chairman said. And how did I end up as headmaster of this school? Many people believe in the magic dust of the recruitment firms, the headhunters as we call them. They are often invoked by people when they're asked about how they became appointed. We're all supposed to be tapped on the shoulder and divinely sent into these new roles, but that's seldom reality, and even CEOs of major multinationals, and there's probably a few of them sitting in this audience, and probably a few headhunters as well, have to prove themselves capable, express an interest in a position and work to convince people that they might have the ability to lead an organisation. I don't think too many people know this story, and I think it's quite interesting, so I'm just going to tell you the story and we'll try and learn a few lessons from it. Millfield was first on my radar from 2002. The headmaster of Geelong Grammar School, where I was working at the time, suggested as part of the development of a design brief for a new health and wellbeing centre, it was being talked about a long time ago, that I visit an amazing school in Somerset. So, when 6 years later I was made aware of Millfield's headship becoming vacant, I had some knowledge of the school. A colleague and I discussed the role and he made some inquiries. An application was submitted and an invitation to attend a long list interview was suggested. Unfortunately, my Celtic complexion and pale skin, pummeled by the harsh southern hemisphere sun, is a marriage made in hell. And at the same time as the offer of an interview, a melanoma was diagnosed. An operation followed by an unfortunate infection meant the opportunity to attend was rejected, and though disappointed, I decided to bide my time for the next right move. A short time later, however, I was contacted again by the search team and was asked to come to the next round of interviews. We had little time to prepare, and a dash to the Auckland airport was thwarted by an oversight. And I'm a bit embarrassed to mention it, but a missing passport. We held our breath and mooched around the airport whilst it was retrieved and placed on the next plane north. So, the journey to Millfield continued. I know many of you, pupils and parents, spend a lot of time in airports. We talk about 500 people flying home at the end of every term. They can be challenging places at the best of times, especially when your luggage doesn't arrive. We landed in London 4 hours before a potentially life-changing interview with no luggage. You can imagine the mild panic, and the solution had to be around the corner. My colleague, who was at the time the head of a major public school not too far from Street, was prevailed upon to provide a suit. So he shortened an assembly and beat a hasty retreat, heading in the general direction of Street. I have a rather gruesome memory of sitting on the edge of a bed at Mullion's in the High Street, and please don't try and visualise this, in nothing but my underwear. The suit was at least one size too small, though I'm sure the governors forgave this because I came from the Southern Hemisphere. In any case, and I think Annabelle Sexton might be the only person that can attest to any of this story, in any case the day moved on and something seemed right for the governors and I was appointed. So what does my everyday story point to? Firstly, ambition and a sense of purpose is key. One must have personal goals, but we also need some of the tools required to achieve them. Our life journey provides a landscape to which we make applications from a personal palette. Some have all the colours of the rainbow at their disposal. Others have a more limited array or occasionally operate in a monochrome. But there is still the opportunity to be successful. It is not always about the materials, more how we use them and improve the product. Success requires conscious attention to an aspiration, the skillful application and determination to succeed. Shade, depth and tone are the layers of complexity in great art, and they translate beautifully as a metaphor for the creation of one's own life story. Secondly, accept and thrive on setbacks. Reposition yourself, blame no one, learn from experience, and as our heads of school have said, show resilience. This may relate to academic results, university places, selection in teams, a relationship. It's always easy to blame someone else. Third, friends and family are critical. Gratitude in life, and I heard Reverend Harbridge say this earlier today, gratitude is critical in a life well led. Today is an opportunity to thank these people and also the members of the Millfield community that have supported you throughout your time here. Fourth, cherish your memories. Millfield and Somerset will hold a special place in my family's hearts. For me, it will be the hedgerows and sloe gin, Labradors and pheasants, Bath rugby and Somerset cricket, Avalon and Glastonbury. You will have your own memories, perhaps Mr. Leonard's umpiring and Mr. Whiskers refereeing, Snow Day, which we've seen something of, and Shirt Sleeve Order, the Christmas Ball and Glastonbury Run, Mr Dobbs and Mr Cato's tweed and bow ties, Colin and Brian, the custodians of our beautiful landscape, Mr Brown's plants and Miss Wheel's dissection classes, Butley and King Weston, cricket, cycling and climbing in the cathedral. Our experiences make us what we are at a point in time. What of the future then? Amazing and sometimes life-enhancing innovations, I dare say, are being worked on by tech geniuses across the world as we speak. In fields such as driverless transport, virtual reality and blockchain technology, new inventions may eventually transform our lives and fulfil the cliched big tech promise about making the world a better place. But that is not the nature of our current phase of history, nor the absurd and often dangerous creations we are now being offered on an almost monthly basis. If we do not want to live in a world in which assistants trick us into flimsy conversations and human contact is a chore left at the bottom of the labour market, we do not have to. There is a basic fact about the future the figureheads of big tech too often forget, what it will look like is actually up to us, not them. Be part of the solution. Accept your role as the generation that determines the future in whatever large or small way you deem possible. These are not empty words. Young people shape the world. Just look at the Parkland survivors and their impact in changing gun control legislation in the US. Just like you, the Leavers, I harbour my own aspirations, challenges and fears. In exhorting you to express gratitude, I also have some thanks. I owe a huge debt of gratitude to my wife Penny and my family for following me around the world. I promised Penny, after living a life of rural pleasures for the last 20 years, we would live in a real city one day. Singapore, therefore, beckons, where I take up a role as CEO of Tanglewood Trust School. I've thoroughly enjoyed my 10 years as headmaster of this amazing school, and I wish governors, Mr Horgan, and the staff all the very best for the future. To the pupils, I'm sure you have your own goals, you have the tools to achieve them. Learn from any setbacks that occur, thrive on the memories, but walk into the future with conviction in your heart. In closing, as they say in the West Country, and I'll take this with me, we await the Dempsey light and the spuddling to come. Thanks for your proper job. When you go home, think fondly of your friends at Millfield. We will now conclude today's prize giving with Purple Rain. Thank you.
Never meant to cause you any sorrow. Never meant to cause you any pain. Only wanted to one time hear you laughing. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sorrow. guide you through the purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Only want to see you bathing in the purple rain. Never meant to cause you any sorrow. Never meant to cause you any pain. Only wanted to one time hear you laughing. Only wanna see you laughing in the purple rain.
Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to be with you here today. As you will know, today marks the end of Craig Considine's amazing decade as headmaster of the school, and we thank him enormously for his amazing contribution to our success. Being both Australian and a huge sports fan, Craig has worked hard to imbue our pupils with the famed skills and sporting techniques of his cricketing countrymen. Our library here at Millfield features many sporting biographies to inspire our pupils. But I have to tell you, due to the recent events in South Africa, we've had to move the biography of Aussie bowler Steve Smith to the true crime section. And of course, Craig's teaching methods in sport do differ from those back home. At Millfield, we do our fielding practice on the pitch. In the suburbs of Sydney, I think a lot of it's done in the woodworking shop, where all you can hear is the rasp of sandpaper on cork. But what I must say, in all seriousness, is that Craig's pursuit for sporting excellence has not just benefited Millfield, it's benefited this nation in his 2 Olympics as headmaster, with an amazing 8 Millfieldians taking part in the Rio Olympics. And this is, of course, a school that's been represented at every Olympic Games since 1956, and long may that continue, coming up in Tokyo in 2 years. As many of you know, Craig has been appointed Chief Executive of the Tanglerin Trust School in Singapore, and it's still hoped that this will be the home, this will be the scene for the first historic meeting between President Trump and Kim Jong-un of North Korea. I remain very excited at the prospect of seeing this rather bizarre leader, this strange haircut, the chubby face, the thin-skinned man with this absolute determination and appetite for complete rule over his people. I'm also looking forward to seeing the North Korean president. None of the school's success over the last 10 years would have been possible without Craig's amazing, stellar decade. And in recognition of that, on behalf of the governors and the staff and the school, we've got a wonderful Millfield decanter, which we very much presented to Craig to thank him enormously for this. Thank you so much, Craig. Ladies and gentlemen, it's also a great pleasure to stand in front of you as chairman of the Millfield Governors. I just want to thank all my governors, particularly Richard Exley, the deputy chairman, of whom I just couldn't do this job without him. We're like a double act. I also want to thank Annabelle Sexton, who's been amazing and has succeeded in getting the new head of Millfield Sport, which is a brilliant appointment. And I also want to thank Rachel Sumhays, because she's, as clerk to the governors, she's really amazing and so organised and disciplined. We couldn't do our job without her. I spent the whole of the 70s at Millfield, first at the prep school and then at the senior school. I arrived severely dyslexic. The school nurtured me and gave me the confidence and ability to apply and to get into Oxford. My kids are very quick to point out that in my day it was relatively easy. About 8% of leavers went to university compared to 50% today. So I try to get a bit of kudos with them by saying, hey, I was elected president of the Oxford Union, and they just say, well, so what? So was Boris, and look how he's turned out. You know, you can't imagine what it was like in the 70s. We had a corrupt US president who lied and was threatened with impeachment and eventually became an embarrassment to the US public. In the UK, the Labour Party went to the left. The Conservatives elected a single-minded woman who was determined to try to create some order out of a disunited party. We even had a divisive referendum on the European Union. Imagine that. Well, I'm not sure how much things have completely changed. But how do you change the world around you. I believe your parents, in sending you to Millfield, have provided you with an amazing opportunity. And that opportunity comes with a responsibility for others and for society. It's interesting to note that one of the big charity bodies in the UK, the Charities Aid Foundation, conducts an annual survey called the World Giving Index. And the measures they use to define charitable behaviour is not just giving money, but volunteering time and the willingness to help a stranger. So there are many ways to make a difference, and you can start today. So in conclusion, I just want to offer you a few thoughts for the future. As John Lennon once said, life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. But he may be right, but I believe firmly that you should make a plan. Make a plan for the next 2 to 3 years. Now, the reason why a lot of people don't make a plan is because they don't want to fail. But in reality, they do fail. They just don't know it. So don't fail because of willful blindness. Take the initiative, make a plan, and try and stick to it. Secondly, see people. See the people who clean up after you. See the people who wait on you when you go out. They're not invisible. Don't look through them. And remember to thank them profusely for what they do. Thirdly, you are best at what you are most passionate about. Try and find an interest and then a job that speaks to that passion. Fourthly, don't procrastinate. Make decisions quickly. Don't sit on emails. Don't always wait until tomorrow, because by then a whole new set of challenges have emerged. Time will not rescue you. Do it now. And third and finally, there is only one thread, one leitmotif that runs through successful people. It's not intellect, it's not talent, it's not good looks, it's not being born into privilege, it's hard work. And never feel despondent if you happen to think that the person next to you is more academic than you, or maybe they're more talented than you in certain areas. Because if you're determined to succeed, and if you work harder, you will succeed. And finally, remember that education is a lifelong pursuit. Soak up as much information as you can to develop the skills that you'll need. Leavers, your life journey has only just begun, but the relationship between you and the school has not come to an end. Please stay in touch. You have so many possibilities ahead of you. Go out there and seize them, and make yourselves proud and make your school proud. I know you will. Thank you.
There is a
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. When Muhammad Ali was in the prime of life, his self-confidence knew no limits. The great boxer claimed to float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. One day, he was on board a plane, ready for takeoff. The stewardess walked past his row and stopped to remind him to fasten his seatbelt. Never short of something to say, Ali shot back with a typically brash retort. Superman don't need no seatbelt. Maybe I need to work on that. Superman don't need no seatbelt. The stewardess smiled weakly at him and said, yes, and Superman don't need no aeroplane either. Muhammad Ali fastened his belt. Young people often feel invincible, that anything is possible. I suppose they always have. 3,000 years ago, the prophet Isaiah shared a vision of young men energized by God, spreading their wings and soaring like eagles. But if today is a day for celebrating great gifts, it's also an occasion for acknowledging the limits to our invincibility, for seeing, as even a heavyweight like Ali was forced to see, that we can't do it all on our own. None of us are self-made. Numerous people play a part in our progress through life, from parents and teachers to siblings and friends. They help make us who we are. Perhaps my favourite piece of Millfield art is the bronze sculpture at the main gates. It's called Acrobats. Two agile figures are performing a graceful but strenuous movement, one knelt in support of the other. At full stretch, he hoists her skywards, raising her up, extending her reach. And as the sculptor says, Acrobats is an aspirational piece, but it's about dependence too, about what we can only achieve together. Of course, Acrobats is also a reminder that Millfield can be something of a circus. Ours is a community with a lot of performers, certainly a few clowns, some wild and unruly beasts, trainers and lion tamers, elephants working for peanuts. Just joking, sorry. But plenty of frenzied activity, people juggling study and sport, home life and work life, rushing around trying to keep all their plates spinning. And in the midst of this amazing talent, all these diverse goings on, some of us tumble off the tightrope, only to be caught in a safety net of pastoral care. Likened as he was to P.T. Barnum, the greatest showman on earth, Jack Mayer's vision for this school deliberately embraced a set of values more properly associated with the big top, the virtue of attempting something you might not be able to do, the virtue of not standing on your dignity, the virtue of not living not for oneself alone, but valuing each other's gifts. In a circus, the bearded lady and the world's strongest man fall in love. They decide to start a family. Soon, the bearded lady is pregnant. A few weeks before she's due to give birth, the circus ringmaster calls her up. "How's it going?" he asks. "Are you well?" "Yes, thanks. I'm very excited," said the bearded lady. "We have so many plans for the baby. We'd like to be supportive parents." "That's nice," said the ringmaster. "What do you want, a boy or a girl?" "Oh, we really don't mind," replies the bearded lady, "as long as it's healthy and it fits into the canon." Well, in the field of educational artillery, Millfield has long been one of the big guns. Many fine careers have been launched from here, and in some cases, pupils have shot to stardom. And we all take a great pride in this. But as the joke suggests, there is a danger in overcoaching our youngsters. We have to guard against choosing life's path for them. Those lines from Khalil Gibran, come to mind. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You are the bows from which your children, as living arrows, are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness, for even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that's stable. Pupils, whatever direction in life you take, and wherever you happen to land, I hope Millfield isn't simply setting you up for good qualifications and good employment. I hope above all that we're firing your imagination, helping you see beyond the immediate and obvious and tangible to what really matters in life, helping you see beyond the skills acquired and exams passed to the heart of true education, how to be human, how to love. In this, may acrobats be a lesson to you, a lesson in teamwork, how we rely on each other, the bow and the arrow, the support and the stardom, how relationship feeds and forwards our progress as human beings, not least our relationship with God, who we learn is not to be found at the end of a long and furious argument, but simply in a life well lived. To the one who never changes, thy God, thy life, thy cure. Amen.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, pupils. We now start the presentation of prizes. And it's my pleasure to announce the 2018 prize winners for academic achievement and academic effort. I'll only be reading out the pupils who are here with us today, and the awardees will come up and be congratulated by the Headmaster. I would be grateful if you would hold on to your applause until each small group of pupils has been read out. We'll start with Year 9. Please know that Year 9 prizes for academic achievement are confirmed following the Year 9 internal examinations just after half term. Those pupils will be congratulated at the Headmaster's final assembly. We start with Year 9 prize winners for academic effort, therefore, who are as follows: Emily Bradshaw, Barney French, Clarissa Jackson, Santiago Jimenez Rowe, and Rosa Launder. Joe Maddock, Ella McEwen, Rosalia Moore, Gabrielle Stubbings, Lily Thomas, and Kimberly Whedon. The Year 10 prize winners for academic achievement and effort are as follows: Yuka Machino for biology, mathematics and academic effort, Cyrus Giatti Lopez for BTEC ICT, Sinus Sodi for Chinese, and Jade Varden-Cardy for classical Greek. Alex Knox-Jones for economics and academic effort, Maria Elliott for English, Bose Teo for food and nutrition, Inigo Edens for French and history, and Lily de Lacy for geography, Italian, physics, and academic effort. Josh Kelly for German and academic effort. Emily Patterson for music, Spanish, and academic effort. Tati Tostevin for physical education. William Green for product design. And Jamie Schlauter for religious studies. The Year 10 prize winners for academic effort are as follows: Angel Chen, Stephanie Chu, Ella Davey, Catherine Dunn, and Sophie Holmes. Nushi Law, Talia Mosier-Ewing, Grace Pugh, and Frank Shee. The Year 11 prize winners for academic achievement and effort are as follows: Sofia Diskantova for art and Chinese, Thomas Hewitt for biology, computer science, and Latin, Bella Francis for business studies, Saskia Portman for chemistry, economics, English, German, history, physics, and academic effort, Isabel Bartlett for drama, Spanish, and academic effort. Beth Nicholson for food and nutrition, Tiger Kellaway for French, Kumar Karas for geography and academic effort, William Mallows for ICT, and Becky Graham-Lowe for Italian and academic effort. Max French for mathematics and academic effort, Eloise Littman for music and academic effort, Sophia Wilson for physical education, Kit Jones for product design, and Damilola Adikunle for religious studies. The Year 11 prize winners for academic effort are as follows: Alistair Atkinson, Phoebe Bainham, James George, Elizabeth Gray, and Jasmine Hallworth. Catherine Hazelton, Diketso Karas, Emily Lloyd, Oscar Plant, and Scott Reed. Rafa Teniente, Sammy Welsh, and Jasper Williams. We now move on to the lower six prize winners for academic achievement and effort, who are as follows. Phoebe Britton for art, Sophie Kelly for biology and academic effort, Aria Kalmar for BTEC art and design, and Alfie Gibson for BTEC business. Claudia Tsen for BTEC Enterprise and Entrepreneurship, Oscar Zaki for BTEC Music, Emily Gore for Business Studies, English and Academic Effort, Candice Lamb for Chemistry, Mathematics, Psychology and Academic Effort, and Jack Hickin for Chinese. Jacob Saint-Germain for Computer Science, Marina Wade for Drama, Tom Treadle for Economics and Geography, Phoebe Colmar for Food and Nutrition, and Isabel Barber for French and Music. Katie Maddock for Further Maths, Latin and Academic Effort, Tom Simpson for Government and Politics and Academic Effort, Natasha Nobbs for History, Stevie Southall for Media Studies, and Hamish McFarlane for Photography. Ben Harding, Physical Education, William Fuller for Physics and Academic Effort, Jessie Fullard for Product Design, Lucia Wakeland-Gilden for Religious Studies and Academic Effort, and Ellie Guthrie for Spanish. The lower six prize winners for academic effort are as follows. Elenice Andrews, Ashley Bailey, Seb Berkeley, Millie Boyle, and Edward Brodsky. Ella Hoskins, Florence Lunnan, Regina Manakmatova, Daniel New, and Muradio Oleiton. And the final academic prizes for academic effort go to Zoe Portman, Kritzia Rust, Daphne Schrager von Altishoffen, and Ellen Tay. And that concludes the academic prizes.
And the doors burst wide, cracking, splintering, the hall booms, roaring.
And they're up on their feet, and there's something among them, a black bolt from heaven, a bellowing tempest, a thunderclap of heron teeth. They strike with their swords, the blades shatter, swing axe and club, they just bounce off.
And they're caught in the storm of blood and rich flesh, sucked in by the whirlwind, limbs ripped, bodies mangled, chewed and gulped.
And all that remains is the ravaged hall and the dark blood dripping from the ruined walls.
And suddenly, hell fired! Something came between us and a blood snapped! He tore himself from me, carried the wound of himself back to the waist, left me with a bundle of bloody rags, the scraps of himself, his sacrifice, his offering.
Good afternoon. It gives me great pleasure to announce the International Honours for the 2017-18 academic year. As with the academic prizes, I'll read the names out in small groups. Please hold your applause with the pauses in between. Sophie Ackerley, swimming, Cayman Islands, under 16. Luke Bradley, modern pentathlon, South Africa, under 18. Matthew Bradley, modern pentathlon, South Africa, under 18. And David Chang, swimming, Hong Kong, under 16. Caspian Fowler, chess, Wales, under 14. Hugo Fowler, chess, Wales, under 18. Josh Gillespie, rugby, England, under 17. Jacob Goodman, swimming, Great Britain, under 18. William Howard, modern pentathlon, Great Britain, under 18. Ollie Howell, chess, England, under 14. Hugo King, cricket, Jersey, under 19 and under 15. Alex Knox-Jones, tennis, England, under 14. Candice Lamb, swimming, Hong Kong, under 18. Eleanor Launder, fencing, England, under 15. Joe Maddock, fencing, England, under 15. Oscar Plant, fencing, Great Britain, under 17. Jamie Schluter, athletics, England, under 17. Daphne Schrager von Altershoffen, athletics, Great Britain, under 20. Imara Bellathorpe, swimming, Kenya, under 18. Tati Tostevin, swimming, Guernsey, senior. And Santos Villalon, swimming, Spain, under 18. And the final group, Hugh Williams, swimming, Wales, under 16. Millie Wills, Athletics, England under 17. Sophia Wilson, Swimming, England under 18. And Morgan Zaki, Fencing, England under 17.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is my pleasure this afternoon to read the Co-Curricular Achievement Awards. As previously, if you could hold your applause for the small groupings, please. For Year 9, India Rose Owen for art, Mia Inslee for dance, Zara Banaskiewicz for drama, Hamish Barry for music. Year 10, Maria Elliott for art, Sophie Holmes for dance, Henry O'Sullivan for drama, Annabella Dawkins for music. Year 11, Sofia Giskantova for art, Sophie Glover for dance, Freya Lucas for drama, Rowan Wilson for music. Lower 6th, Talia Tully, art, Izzy Spencer Shellard, dance, Seb Berkeley, drama, Isabel Barber, music. The following awards are for the lower 6 pupils that it's been awarded for Eagles. The Eagles programme is something that Mrs. Bowring introduced. Alice Gray, Silver Award. All the following pupils, it will be Bronze Awards, so the pupils are Phoebe Britton, Emily Gore, Annie Jane, Osh Kearney, John Liu, Lulu Scott, Cara Thorpe, Lucia Waitlin Gilden.
Ladies and gentlemen, I feel like an absolute imposter with 2 left feet and not quite the svelte figure that Mr. Rudd cuts following those young ladies. That was absolutely amazing. We have the Year 9 to Lower 6 Special Awards, and we have been asking you to refrain from your applause until a group comes through, but I think it might be appropriate with these special awards to give a resounding round of applause to each of the award winners. The Year 9 Bunce Prize is awarded to Santiago Jimenez Road. The Year 10 Bunce Prize goes to Finn Rogers. The Young Actor of the Year Award, and you've seen a little bit of him already, goes to Inigo Edens. The Year 11 Bunce Prize is awarded to Emily Lloyd. The Staniforth Cup for Rhetoric goes to Bora Bayram. The Bunce Prize for the Lower Sixth is awarded to Daniel New. The Dr. Bill Marshall Prize for Development as a Historian goes to Izzy Spencer-Shellard. The Harvard Book Prize goes to Jacob Saint-Germain. The Peter Willey Cup goes to Florence Lunnan. The Richard Barker Memorial Cup for Academic Endeavour is awarded to Katie Maddock. Well, Chair of the Board of Governors, Mr. Rudd, Governors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to address you today and present an overview of our 2017-18 school year. Today has been another wonderful celebration of Millfield's commitment to discovering and developing the potential within each individual. Community building days such as today and the polo at the end of the half term, which I hope you can all come to, are important in developing a culture that recognises aspiration and rewards achievement. In recognising that aspiration and achievement, I want to begin today by thanking staff that have contributed so much to the success of the year. The quality of relationships between adults and pupils defines all schools. Staff that are leaving at the end of this academic year are identified in today's program, and I would like to thank them for their commitment to the school and the Millfield community. Those who warrant a special mention for long service include Dr. David Burton, who is retiring after 36 years with the History Department, and also as coordinator of the Bronze Duke of Edinburgh Award throughout those 36 years. David Carr is retiring after 29 years with the History Department and is a great supporter of the very successful Millfield Squash program. Caroline Byrne leaves us to fulfil other interests after 29 years with the English, Drama and Media Department. And Neil Chamberlain is stepping away from teaching business studies after 31.5 years at the school, but will remain as part of the Millfield Institute of Strength and Wellbeing program. Would you please join with me in thanking them and those colleagues that are leaving? On a more sombre note, we farewelled a dear colleague that passed away recently. Liz Dando, English teacher and house parent in the Lakes, lost her battle with cancer last month. A memorial service was held earlier this week, and we think fondly of her life and times. There have also been other tragedies within the broader school community, and those that have suffered bereavement and illness have been in our thoughts and prayers. Today is the second summer celebration, and our thanks go to our fire warden, Mrs. Baring, who has brought about today's event. It has been an absolutely monumental effort, and we thank her very, very much for the wonderful work that's gone into today's event. The success of schools such as Millfield depend heavily on a vast number of people, and so there are many thank yous, for which I don't apologise. Firstly, governors establish the policies that guide this great school. Increasing responsibilities and expectations are the lot of governance in all areas of life. The governors act in a voluntary capacity and give a vast amount of time, energy and expertise to Millfield, and I thank them on behalf of us all. The management of the school put these policies into practice, and I would like to thank the senior management team for their excellent work, in particular Dr. Clough and Mr. Collins, who have been a great support throughout the year. The teaching staff work tirelessly in support of our young people, and so much that goes on beyond the classroom. I'm in awe of their ability and capacity, and I thank them for their big-hearted contribution to Millfield. Non-teaching staff, of course, are critical to the smooth running of such a vast organisation, and Mr. Sutterby, the bursar, leads this area of the school with great expertise. To the catering and grounds staff, estates and house staff, thank you for your care of the physical infrastructure that is Millfield, but also for your positive and thoughtful interactions with the young people that you meet on a daily basis. The heads of school, Rosie and Charlie, Uriel and Kirsten, and David and Fenella, have played an important role in liaising between pupils and staff. Each of these young people have given up vast amounts of time to represent the pupil body. They are immensely busy people. 2 have offers to read medicine next year, and 1 a place at Cambridge. Amazing achievements with the layer of additional expectations surrounding them as leaders. I will be announcing the incoming heads of school at our final assembly of the year. Academic rigour and expectation must be at the heart of what great schools value. Last year's academic results at GCSE, A2 and BTEC were excellent. They were a wonderful reflection of the industry of the pupils and the teaching of tutors. Good luck to our current GCSE pupils in their preparation for examinations. I know there is much help on offer and hope they will avail themselves after the break. Pupils have achieved excellent results in Olympiads and competitions in a range of subjects. Saskia Portman, Tiger Kellaway, Max French, Peter Chan, Yuka Machino achieved merits or distinctions in mathematical Olympiad papers this year. Both Max and Yuka earned medals for being placed within the top 50 pupils nationally in the most recent Olympiad. And Yuka was selected as a reserve for the UK European Mathematical Olympiad team and invited to train with the UK International Mathematical Olympiad squad, an absolutely remarkable achievement. A number of pupils achieved distinctions in the Adress Challenge in computational thinking, and Katie Maddock, Yuka Machina, Tiger Kellaway, Jamie George, Will Fuller and Edvard Brodsky also achieved strong results in the Physics Olympiad. Sporting achievement has been, as always, to the fore, with Millfield again named the top independent sports school, as it has been for the last 5 years. Our sports awards took place last night, and congratulations to the individuals, teams and staff that were recipients of awards. In the Atkinson Gallery, we have held 4 major exhibitions, including that of noted artists Stuart Geddes and Adam Berry, and also the MA and other postgraduates exhibition. You will note the brilliant work, well, not at the moment because we can't see very much out there, but you will note the brilliant work adorning the room, and there is an exhibition of pupil work today in the Atkinson Gallery, so I hope you can drop in to view that. Mr. Cook and his team, as you may have noted today, have led a merry and melodic band of brothers and sisters through the course of the year. Multiple recitals and concerts, more and more pupil-led events, concerts and masterclasses with world-class external musicians, as well as the magnificent chorale that performed Carl Jenkins' work, The Armed Man, has created a wonderfully rich musical landscape for our young people. The annual dance show and the various other performances and exam preparations for the diverse forms of dance reflect a maturing and excellent department. There is something for everyone that wants to be involved. On stage, we were fortunate to have a production of Beowulf recently, and you have seen a very short snippet of that very powerful performance today. There have been French and Spanish productions, Shakespeare School's festival performances, and our senior pupils gave a harrowing and powerful performance of The Crucible. I'm thrilled, therefore, to say that the arts are alive and well at Millfield. As mentioned earlier by Mr. Rudd, this will be my 10th and final year at Millfield. There have been a number of changes throughout that time, as you would expect in a dynamic and vibrant educational organisation. Key changes have included 9 at Millfield, altering the timetable to ensure longer and more effective classes, alterations to the school and sports uniforms, development of our current day house model, refurbishment of various buildings and facilities, and a number of residences built for staff. A broader leadership structure designed to cope with the demands of greater compliance and accountability in education, more academic and co-curricular recognition awards, and a systemic and robust continuing professional development program for staff to ensure they are the best they can be in meeting the needs of our pupils. 9 at Millfield has altered the way young Millfieldians begin their career here, and significant thanks go to Mr. Sori Cookson and his team for their patience, care and guidance of our 13-year-olds. All areas of school life being overseen by the house parent is clearly effective and is a common model in other schools. It is clear that so much of what happens in a social and emotional fashion shapes the behaviours that we see in the classroom and around the school. For this and other reasons, from 2018-19, housemasters and housemistresses will oversee all aspects of a pupil's progress in the school. They will teach a much reduced timetable in order to spend more time focusing on each individual pupil. This will be managed through the team of house tutors and will align accountabilities for care and well-being with the academic performance of each individual. I will be writing to you after the break to explain this in great detail. Some staff housing has been developed over the last 10 years, and I'm pleased that governors are currently considering the development of more residences. In my mind, this is crucial to the ongoing development of Millfield as a boarding and day school. More staff living on site enhances the community of learning that we wish to be, is critical to the opportunities and general care of young people at Millfield. In reflecting upon 10 years as headmaster, it is extraordinary to consider how much the world we live in has changed during that time. The biggest influence on all of our lives, of course, has been social media, and that, unfortunately, has heightened a culture of self, celebrity and selfies. Alongside this, unsurprisingly, is the increased awareness of mindfulness and well-being, particularly in relation to mental health. The cult of self needs to be examined. The construct of a healthy and balanced self requires humility, self-awareness, empathy, and subservience at times to what is required for the greater good of the broader community. And interestingly, that Mr. Rudd and Reverend Harbridge have touched on very similar matters in their talks early on. Some of our young people are brilliant at doing things for others, and I shared lunch with a group of Duke of Edinburgh awardees during the week who have been busy doing this, as have the Lowers involved in the Eagles program. Expanding on this theme of selfishness, I would like to tell a brief story. I have the great pleasure on a Saturday afternoon of wandering the sports fields. 2 Saturdays ago, I was mesmerised by the brilliant performances I saw. Marcia sprinting, Ollie's 800 metres, Anna's high jump, Ned and Lewis's bowling, and the list goes on. I like to watch people, which sounds a little voyeuristic, it's not meant to be, and how they react to success and failure. But what took my attention was, let's call her Jane, not her real name, at athletics last week. Jane is a talented hurdler and athlete. She won her hurdles race well. In coming over the line, another competitor fell and landed heavily on the point of her shoulder. Jane was concerned, and while not labouring the point, expressed that empathy clearly. She also thanked every one of the other competitors. Oh well, everyone that wins tends to be gracious, I hear you say. A little later, however, Jane finished a very distant third in a 200-metre race. Again I watched. She was the only competitor in the field to stop and congratulate and thank all of the other competitors. I was so impressed. In my day of watching some outstanding sport, nothing filled me with more pride as the headmaster of Millfield than the simplicity of this young person enjoying competing, winning, losing, having fun, and keeping her ego under wraps. Who you really are is what one does in the quiet moment, because let's face it, no one was really looking at Jane. So it's a big well done to Jane and those that are like her. And it reminds me a little of Liz Dando's memorial, where her hope was that people would simply act more kindly to each other in their life as they go forward. Some of our pupils move on at the end of the year. Thank you to all of you for contributing to Millfield. Each of you will have some special Millfield memories. Amongst my most enjoyable experiences has always been the quiet and contemplative moments we share in Wells Cathedral. On that note, advance notice that the carol service will be moving to an evening next year and will be illuminating, ethereal and special. I'm very envious, Reverend Harbridge. Other especially fond memories include the wedding of my daughter at King Weston last year and the education of my children at Millfield Prep School and Millfield. I consider myself extremely lucky to have been part of the Millfield community. I thank my wife Penny and my children, who have been dragged all over the world, for their support and encouragement. In keeping my word to Penny, we will shortly embark, as Mr. Rudd mentioned earlier, on something of an urban adventure when I take up a post as CEO of Tanglen Trust School in Singapore. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have enjoyed today's event. We have lunch to follow, and I'm sure your prayers have been answered for a sunny exit from the tennis centre. But before we do so, we have the Jazzband. Thank you very much.
Thank you.